Hello, students. How are you all? Today we are going to discuss John Donne's poem, Go and Catch a Falling Star. This poem is prescribed on the syllabus of BA second year for Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. John Donne was a poet and a divine. Divine means religious preacher, known for his deeply religious and coarse secular poems. Coarse in the sense whimsical. He wrote lyrics, sonnets, elegies, satires, and epigrams, and he is known for metaphysical poetry, in which some of his contemporary poets made use of unconventional and far fetched images and conceits, which they drew from unusual sources. By far fetched, I mean from the areas of knowledge peculiar to natural sciences, geography, cartography, theology, philosophy, law, etc., from various sources, various different sources. Uh, and such kinds of images were unusual in the poetry of that time, means previous to Donne, and which were abundantly being provided to the English and other European educated classes through overseas travels and exploration, as we know that it was a time of geographical exploration. European people and travelers, sea travelers especially, they were exploring new places and they were going to different continents and they were exploring new countries, and the area of knowledge in this way was expanding, and European people were coming to know about new things every day. As I just talked about, unconventional is meant that such images and comparisons in poetry were not used prior to their use by the metaphysical poets. And some of the salient features of Donne's poetry are that there are elements of great wit and intelligent and logical reasoning in his poetry. And it means how normal day to day occurrences and trivialities can be infused with passionate and magisterial advocacy. This is what Donne does in his poetry. If you read his poems, you would feel that you would feel amused by reading his poetry, because the kinds of images he uses, the kinds of arguments that he makes. But there is scientific, we can say, scientific correctness in his argument, in his poems, and irony and reversal are also among the features of his poetry, that we find a satirical treatment in his poetry, and suddenly he reverses the thought towards the end of the poem. And his poems, he has written his poems in a conversational style, that he seems to be making a conversation with his readers and audiences, uh, and association of sensibility, dissociation of sensibility. This term was given by T.S. Eliot, the great 20th century English poet. He said about Donne and that Donne introduced thought into his poetry, uh, into poetry in general, and there is an association of a mingling of thought and feeling in his poetry. He said that earlier Elizabethan poets, uh, they were writing poems. There was either thought or feeling in their poetry, but there was no combination of the two. And the combination, the association of sensibility, the mingling of thought and feeling, it started happening in the poetry of metaphysical poets. So, and his poems begin with sudden, abrupt beginnings, means suddenly he catches you. His the words in the beginning that we find in his poems, they catch you, they catch your attention, and as we have already talked that his poems are unconventional, and they are full of, they are replete with far-fetched images and satire and playfulness. This is what we find in Go and Catch a Falling Star. The song Go and Catch a Falling Star was published in the volume of poems entitled Songs and Sonnets. And the theme of the song is woman's inconstancy, which finds an ironical, satirical treatment. The song Go and Catch a Falling Star is a light, playful, almost mischievous poem in which the poet expresses his distrust for women. Now, in the 21st century, if we talk about such things, it may sound whimsical and even annoying and shocking to modern day audience, because we would feel that these are the stereotyped, manipulated, and grossly objectionable images of women which have been created since ages, and they have been circulated down to us for centuries together. So we would laugh on these things, and we would also find, not only laugh, but we may also find such things very objectionable and unlawful. And but the poet here seems to suggest that it is no more possible to find a beautiful and faithful woman than it is to catch a falling star or carry out other works mentioned in the poem. One of the reasons that Donne has written such a poem is that it is possible that he seems to be making fun of not of women, but of patriarchal tradition of woman worship and Elizabethan tradition of courtly love, in which fair women were viewed as disdainful towards their suitors and lovers. Uh, and it was almost a tradition at that time, in Elizabethan time, in Elizabethan courtly poetry, that such stereotyped images of women were circulated and were created in poetry, in sonnets, in songs, and the disdainfulness of beautiful women were very much talked about in those poems. So here Donne seems to be making a satire about such images of women. And another thing which might be said about this poem is that this poem should be read as an argument, as a metaphysical argument, as a piece of logical reasoning, in which content is not so important, but how Donne argues it, or how it is written in a kind of language, that is very much important, or that is the thing that we should discuss here. So this poem shows how logic and oratory means the art of speaking and writing effectively, can augment triviality. Oratory should be used to unveil and represent the truth, but it can also be used to turn a lie into great magnificence. This is what Donne has done in this poem. So let's read this poem and try to understand it. And there are some terms in it which we would be discussing after reading the poem. Go and catch a falling star. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy's stinging, and find what wine serves to advance an honest mind. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. If thou findest one, let me know, such a pilgrimage were sweet, yet do not, I would not go, though at next door we might meet, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false, ere I come to 2 or 3. So there are some terms, for example, mandrake root. Mandrake root is the forked root of the poisonous mandrake plant. The plant was supposed to have human qualities, but a child cannot be begotten on it. It means that mandrake is a kind of plant. It's a kind of tree which looks like a human being, which has forked roots, split roots, and but it does not mean that a human looking like tree can also beget human children. So the point here says that it is impossible to beget a child, beget a human child from a mandrake tree, mandrake plant, and it is also impossible to tell where all past years are. Nobody knows where the past has gone. It is dead and buried. And cleft. Cleft means clove, split into two. The devils were supposed to have cloven feet by medieval Christian theologists. It was in medieval period. In old times, it was believed that devils have cloven feet, cleft feet, and mermaids. Mermaid means in classical mythology and legend, mermaids were fabulous creatures, half fish, half woman. They were supposed to sing very sweetly, but as they have no real existence, none can actually listen to their music. So it is impossible to find mermaids because they are mythological, and they are rather imagination than truth. So nobody has ever listened to the song of a mermaid because mermaids are never seen. They cannot be seen. They cannot be found. Envy stinging, the pain caused to envy by envy. Envy means the feeling of jealousy. Whenever we are encircled with jealousy, it stings us. We feel very painful. So it stings like an insect, like a poisonous insect. So it is also difficult to get away with envy stinging. What wine serves? This is what wine serves to advance an honest mind. It means, how is it that a man grows more and more honest? There are different kinds of people in the world. There are dishonest people and there are honest people. But nobody can tell that how a man grows honest. It is difficult to tell because it is somebody's quality. It is somebody's personal attribute, his personal quality. And nobody can tell that how did he become honest. And how does honesty grow? How does it develop? It is impossible to tell about it. True and fair. both constant and beautiful. The poet expresses the idea in the poem that it is difficult to find a woman who is both beautiful and constant, means true, to her husband or her lover. An ugly woman may be constant, but a beautiful woman can never be so. This is the whimsical idea. This is the eccentric idea, stereotyped image, which is the theme of this poem. So, false are three. During the time it takes to write a letter, the poet here says that any man who is born with special qualities, any man who is born with very supernatural qualities, and who is gifted with a long, long age, even if he goes on a world tour, he goes to different places, various different places, he can find, he can see the wonders of the world. But it is difficult for him to find a woman who is both true and fair. So these are the difficult images. So now let's talk about, uh, let's discuss the poem. Go and catch a falling star. The poet tells the supposed listener that you can go and you can try to catch a falling star. But and you can go and you can try to get a child, a human child, from a mandrake root. And can you tell me where all past years are, where the past has gone? And can you tell me who cleft the devil's foot? Who was that person, or who was that power, that supernatural power, who cleft, who split the devil's foot into two pieces? Teach me to hear mermaid singing, and tell me whether or not you have listened to a mermaid song, or to keep off envy stinging, and to how to save oneself from not being hurt by envy, not being hurt by a feeling of jealousy, and find what wine serves to advance an honest mind. And can you tell me, how does a man become honest? If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, if you are born with special qualities, supernatural qualities, if you can see, if you are able to see invisible things, invisible things, if you can ride 10,000 days and nights, if you have such a long, long age, and if you go on a journey, on a world tour to different places, various different places, till age snow white hairs on thee, and you keep on visiting the world, you keep on visiting even the universe, till your hair grow grey. Thou, when thou returnest, when you will come back, you will tell me that you saw all strange wonders that come across, came across, which came across you, that befell thee means which came across you, and swear, and you will swear. It will be a matter of swearing. You will swear that nowhere lives a woman true and fair. You will tell me that I saw everything, each and everything. I saw every strange thing. I saw every impossible task. But I could not see even a single woman who is true and fair, who is both beautiful and honest, or faithful, means faithful to her husband or lover. So, if you findest one, the poet here says that even then, even if you have found one woman, one such woman who is both true and fair, let me know. Tell me where tell me where she lives. Because to meet such a woman is a kind of pilgrimage. It is a kind of holy journey, a journey to a holy place. Such a pilgrimage were sweet, and I would happily go there. Yet do not. But now this is the reversal which we find in Donne's poetry. Here is the reversal. He says that even if there is such a woman, it would be useless to go there and meet her, because when I will reach there, when I will reach her, she would have been unfaithful. She would have become unfaithful, and she would have been unfaithful to two or three lovers. Though at next door we might meet, the poet here says that even if such a woman lives the next door, lives in the next house, very near to me, very closer to my house, it would be useless to go there, because when you met her she would have been faithful, but when I would go there and last till you write your letter, means when you met her and you wrote your last letter, till that time she would have been faithful, yet she will be false. She would have become faithless. Or means before I come, before I meet her, to two or three lovers she would have been faithless. So this is the reversal. This is the wit. This is, we can say, the power of oratory. This is, we can say, how to make an argument, how to use language, how to frame premises, and how to draw conclusion. This is what is called logical thinking. Though it might be objectionable, such a theme, such a thing, such an argument. Any argument can be whimsical, eccentric, idiotic, and useless, or any stereotyped image. But it doesn't matter. But what matters is that how to frame that argument, how to frame it into premises, and how to draw an intelligent conclusion, how to give a reversal, and how to mold your language. This is what has been done by John Donne in this poem here. So this was the poem. I hope you got the point. So thank you for listening.